What's up, otakus? It's your tour guide here. We're doing some more grading today. Didn't pick up any comic books this week. It's been a pretty stressful week, and I think part of the reason I collect comics is to just manage my stress. Um, I'm one of those individuals that I make a concerted effort not to stress myself out, but that's only because I think I just deal with a lot of internalized. Hey, what's up, fanboy? I'm good. I'm good. It was a stressful week, and I'm just one of those individuals that um, can't handle stress very well, and so I have to I have to basically remind myself, or distract myself, I should say, from whatever work related or family related or whatever things that are happening um, in my life. If it's causing a good degree of stress, I have to kind of escape from it. I have to detach myself from it, my mind and everything from it. Um, Otherwise, it gets to be it's overwhelming. Can be overwhelming. Yeah, Leo was sick. This just he got sick yesterday, and he was throwing up this morning. So we just spent all day with him. Kind of, we let him watch. We never let him really watch videos all that much or TV. We just let him kind of sit in bed and watch videos. And by the end of the day, he was feeling a little better, so we got him to bed early. And that's not always a good situation to kind of find yourself in, but yeah, it's can be um, that can be that's just worrisome. That wasn't the source of my stress. The source of my stress is more work related, and I won't get into or bother you with those details. But yeah, like I think this is why I collect comic books, is just to kind of have a break from those things. This is sort of my time to just kind of detach from reality for a little bit. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to detach ourselves from reality. We're going to get into some grading of the books. And I think what's going to be good is I have the CGC they have a grading scale, and they really use sort of a broad definition on their grading scale. They'll say has minor to moderate defects. They keep it broad. They don't get very specific, tears or spine splits, creases. They don't really get into specifics about what's allowable. So when we grade today, we're gonna use the Overstreet definitions of grading. And I think don't go, CGC, they don't get very specific on their grading scale, because I think they don't want to be held to their own standards. They don't want you to look at something they've graded and then compare it to their grading scale and be like, hey, wait, this shouldn't be. They kind of keep it open so that there's a lot of collectors out there who get a grade and think, oh no, this is probably higher, and they resubmit, or press and clean and resubmit, hoping for that grade bump. CDC makes money off that kind of endeavor. So I hope, you're not, I hope I would, if I'm to give my opinion on that, I hope I would discourage you from doing that. There's nothing wrong with getting a comic graded, but don't don't waste money on trying to get grade bumps, because oftentimes it's just you're just throwing money down the toilet. Be content with whatever grade CDC got you. Um, and there are people who go out and buy like books who think they could improve with the press and all that. That's I don't know. I don't think that's fun. Is that fun to pursue the hobby in that manner? Um, so I mean, I don't know. Just I would just take a step back and be like, learn to grade yourself is essentially what I'm trying to say. So I think the Overstreet grading scale is going to help a lot of people be able to do that. Have a more defined definition. And I I've got to admit, I'm looking over Overstreet grading definitions right now, and some of the things have surprised me that I think I've been a little bit harsh on some of the grading, and I think I've been a little lenient on certain lower grades as well. So it's kind of like finding a sort of a balance in the middle. So what we're gonna, as I'm grading the books here, I'm gonna look at the grading scale and kind of get a real kind of specific definition of where we're at. Look at the overall condition of the book and see if it deserves a little, maybe a bump from that or maybe a downgrade from that. But just find the real core flaws and see what the grading scale says about those, and approach it that way. So this is going to be much more sort of a, I think, scientific. I don't want to say scientific, but a much more objective approach to the grading. Excuse me. All right, so let's get into it, and then we'll talk a little bit about what's been going on in the comic book community and industry. We'll just chit chat and do all that. But yeah, thanks for checking in, fanboy. Appreciate you, man. Horrible family, thanks for stopping by. All right, so we're gonna get going here. I got a nice little stack of books, and I'm not gonna reveal them. We're just gonna put the camera down, and we're just gonna start grading, and you'll see the books when you see the books. And we're gonna keep the Overstreet grading scale in mind, and we'll grade them. Okay, so let me get this little in focus here a little bit. There we go. All right, so the first book is actually it's what I love about the current grading, what I love about the current and current collecting environment right now is that it seems to me the 90s are back. I mean, right now with the popularity of X-Men 97, it's just brought this whole sort of nostalgic revival to those 90s books. Those late 80s, early 90s X-Men books especially, which I'm loving it. I'm loving I'm not watching the Disney Plus series, but I'm definitely looking at all the articles, all the posts, kind of staying up to what the episodes have revealed and all that. So kind of a very general overall idea of how that series is progressing. And I hear it's really wonderful. Apparently they killed off Gambit and Magneto and a bunch of X-Men in the last episode. So a lot of like sort of an emotional sort of roller coaster, and we're only like midway through, at the midway point of this series. They've just made an announcement that they're extending the series to a season 3, so fans are really getting what they want. There's a lot of source material there to work from, especially in the 90s. The 90s, I'm telling you, the 90s X-Men, some of the best stories that have come out during that era. I'm specifically referring to Age of Apocalypse and, of course, Onslaught. Those are two specific storylines that were really, really just riveting, and hopefully they come to the series. I think the show producers have kind of hinted at that, right? It's just great to see, especially for, like, the older collectors, the people that were collecting during this period. It's just a nice, these books aren't worth much because the era was just overprinted. But then again, when you get a whole new generation of collectors, like, seeking out 90s books and getting interested in 90s books, it just adds another sense of, like, yeah, this was a great collecting. I've been just preaching this from day one of my channel. The 90s was really one of the best periods of collecting. So much marketing innovation, so many sales. People don't realize that it was just being driven by, like, high sales at both publishing companies, which led to, all these, like, just other publishers just being able to grow their market share. So it was just a really thriving time for comics. So yeah, we got this. I got this at Half Price Books. For like $1. What was this? $1.50. And this is the gold hologram second print. So it's not your standard. It's a variant cover. It's the gold. Then you got this beautiful, like, John Romita Sr. Spider-Man hologram there. So that alone, I don't care what grade this is in, to be honest. That hologram alone is just freaking money. Now, you don't get a good look at it, but this is like a 3D hologram. I know you can kind of see it there, but let's see if I can get a better angle. Like, it's 3D. I mean, it's like he's shooting the web right out at you. It's pretty freaking amazing. But yeah, this book, as you can see, has its issues. It's got some very deep color breaking spine ticks. So it's well handled. And the biggest thing here is it's got a spine split. And I'm going to just show you, kind of get it in focus here and show you. You can see right there at the corner the spine. Let me open it up so you can see it a little better here. Should be able to get a good there. You can see it right on the inner corner there. So I'm gonna go. Let's see, where is it? You can see it right up here. No, maybe you can't see it. Let me turn it around here. Get it right there. There, you see it right there when it comes into focus. Boom. Okay, so it's about, here's my finger. It's about, I would say it's a good, half-inch spine split. So according to, again, Overstreet, this is a 5.0, okay? A spine split of up to a half-inch may be present. So we're talking about maybe a 5.5 to a 5.0, just based off that spine split. Now, this is a very good means, it's a mid-grade. So that would also fit into all the definitions here. An above average but well-used comic, so all these spine ticks, this grade will show some moderate wear. Eye appeal is somewhat reduced due to the accumulation of defects. Again, you got, I think, a little bit of a corner. There's a little corner indentation there. I guess it's a crease. Yeah, it kind of breaks color there. So corner crease. That's all within the moderate creases and or dimples, minor to moderate creases. Bindery defects is allowed. Minor to moderate wear, cover wear apparent. So I'm going to just read the 5.0 definition. This kind of fits into a lot of the categories. So very good, define 5.0. An above average but well-used comic book. A comic in this grade shows some moderate wear. Eye appeal is somewhat reduced because of the accumulation of defects. Still a desirable copy that has been handled with some care. An accumulation of bindery defects is allowed. That's what we have here. Minor to moderate cover wear apparent with minor to moderate creases and or dimples. We've got some creases and or dimples. Inks have major to extreme reduction in reflectivity. That we're not seeing here. This is still a very vibrant book. Blunted or abraded corners are increasingly common, as is minor to moderate staining, discoloration, and or foxing. So we've got a little bit of, maybe not so much staining. I don't see much staining on the book. Here's a look at the back cover. I could use some eraser time right there. There's some dirt right there. Again, a little blunted corner there along that spine split. Back doesn't actually look that bad, but there's dimples and all that. This is a cardstock cover, so it's not one of those things you can press. So this book is kind of, I think the only thing we could probably do is maybe do a little eraser time to clean it up a little bit. But in terms of like pressing it out and all that, it's not really going to be advised. It's cardstock. A minor to moderate spine roll is allowed. Stamped or inked arrival dates may be present. A spine split of up to 1/2 inch, which is what we have here, may be present. Staples show minor discoloration. A slight accumulation of minor staple tears and an accumulation of minor stress lines may also be present, as well as minor rust migration. In rare cases, a comic was not stapled at the bindery, and therefore has a missing staple. This is not considered a defect. Okay, so that's a manufacturing error. If it didn't come with a staple, that's fine. It fits into this 5.0 category, apparently. Any staple can be replaced on the books up to fine, but only vintage staples can be used on books from very fine to near mint. Mint books must have original staples. Paper is brown to tan, no signs of brittleness, may have the faintest trace of an acidic odor. Centerfold may be loose but not detached. Minor tears may also be present. Okay, so I would put this as a solid 5.0 candidate because, again, with that tear, the interior of the book is really it's a clean book. Look at that Galactus page, man. How awesome is that? So this is some Mark Bagley art. We got this. This is really the kicker of the. You got to have this poster, and we have the poster intact. This is actually the first appearance of, not in comics, as a promo. This is the first promo image of Spider-Man 20. Actually, I think there's a one that precedes this as a concept art or something, but this is the actual first. Well, most people for their first glimpse into Spider-Man 2099. So you got this dope poster in the middle here. That has to be in there. And yeah, just a good bunch of good 90s, like the Flair basketball ads. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff I will pick up. Yeah, 90s goodness right here. So yeah, I think Galactus gets Venomized in this one as well. So just a lot going on here. So yeah, but this is a 5.0 copy. So based on our grading scale, Overstreet grading scale, I'm really feeling good about this. I'm gonna give this a solid 5.0, and I'm gonna very confidently say it's a 5.0. The previous if I had graded this, I think previously without the Overstreet grading scale in front of me, I probably would have been very harsh on that spine split and given it a 3.5 or like 4. So yeah, I'm glad I have the definitions in front of me, because I can now confidently say, this is not going to be any less than a 5.0 in my opinion now. So what was Spider-Man 90? See, I had actually already graded it as a 4.0, and I'm going to bump that up to a 5.0 now, because that is allowable, that half-inch spine split. So we're good. We're making good progress here in our grading. Poster's intact. Again, the second print, the gold hologram. Yeah. Right? 5.0 for a buck is a win. Yeah, I think, again, I wasn't aware of the spine split when I got it, but it didn't really matter. I just was ecstatic that it had the poster still. So that for me that poster is just the bomb. Yeah, the bomb. All right, so we got some 90s goodness to start us off. The next book is a book from my original collection. I bought this at my LCS back in the day, and I've kept it in my collection. And I gotta say, I think I kept it in pretty good shape. So it'll kind of give you an idea of like what kind of collector I was. Yeah, this is a book I bought. When was this? 95? I want to say 94, 95, 95. There you go. And I've kept it in a bag and board. I did read it, so I read it when I got it. And then I read things carefully. So when I get it, I'm like reading it, but I handle it very gently. Don't even open it all up. I kind of read from the margins in, and then I put it right back in the bag and board. I might move it from time to time to a different bag and board and whatever, but for the most part, it's not being handled all that much. So we're just going to take it out. And so having said all that, I'm anticipating this to be a near mid book. But I'm seeing it needs a press. And I'm seeing some stress lines here. I wouldn't doubt it, because it's been in my collection for so long. Doesn't break color, as you can see, but as you can see, it does need a press. So, yeah, minor stress lines. Doesn't look like anything like a staple tear or anything like that. So I'm going to stick with my 9.4 for now. I think that's allowable. The press, this would definitely be much higher grade. Sharp corners for the most part. right? Is that a blunted corner? I can't tell. There's a little. There we go. No, that's part of the. It's part of the book. Beautiful John Romita Jr. art, and I got to tell you, like John Romita Jr. First of all, I love his dad is one of my favorite artists. You know, he's John Romita Jr. is what it's like Jim Lee, Neil Adams, John Byrne, and then John Romita Jr. I mean, he's like in my top four. But I have a his son has a very special place in my heart because I read so many of his comic books, especially the Daredevil stuff. Like I was just like all into John Romita Jr. Daredevil. This Spider-Man run was very great. This was, the Scarlet Spider. You know, when there's two Spider-Men running around. One is a clone. All these identity issues. This was just a great storyline. I really hope, and like they just mentioned that with the success of X-Men '97, they're bringing Spider-Man the anime, and I mean anybody could have seen that, right? They were just like that would be the next step. So Spider-Man animated series is coming. So Ben Reilly is coming. I mean, that was pretty much the '90s narrative right there. You're going to see the death of Aunt May. You're going to see, Ben Reilly. You're just going to see all of that play out in the animated series, and I can't wait for it. So if you're a speculator, I guess, or just excited and want to get the books before they spike, go on and pick up some issues like this. Get some of those early Scarlet Spider issues. So yeah, this is what the back looks like. Again, this needs a press. There are some stress lines there. Nothing that breaks color. You can see one right there. Very sort of minute. I guess those kind of break color right there a little bit. So I'm gonna have to maybe go 9-2 on this. Yeah, I'll go 9-2 on this. With the press, who knows? I mean, they're very negligible. But on this black cover here, I mean, there's nothing color breaking there. Oh, maybe a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of color break there. Oh well. Yeah, I'm gonna go 9. I'm gonna say 9-0. I'm being harsh on myself here. I'm gonna go 9-2 with the press. This could elevate it to near mint. It's just there's a couple stress lines here. Those got cleaned up. I think it's clean enough to where, you could call it near mint. So I will go 9-2 on Web of Spider-Man 126. But as I was saying, like this era of Spider-Man, good stuff. And John Romita Jr. I think needs to get more credit. He lives in the shadow of his dad, but he shouldn't be living in the shadow of his dad. He's a great artist, and he's done so much. Just like the body of his work is just so incredible, and his style of art is also just full of action. He can really describe a scene, dramatize a scene better than anybody. And you just gotta love it. Look at that art there. What's not to love about that? Got Peter Parker chains. Come on. That's just glorious stuff. All right, so let's look at the grading definitions. I put this at a 9.2. We're going to read the 9.2 description. Nearly perfect with only a minor additional defect or defects that keep it from near mint. A limited number of minor binary defects are allowed, which we kind of saw. A light, barely noticeable water stain. Doesn't even have the stain or foxing. Cover is flat with no surface wear. Inks are bright. Okay, generally well centered and secured to interior pages. Corners are cut, squared and sharp, with ever so slight blunting permitted. 1/16 or 1/8 bend is permitted, with no color break, no creases. Small, conspicuous, lightly penciled, stamped, or inked arrival dates are acceptable as long as they are unobtrusive in an unobtrusive location. No soiling, staining, or other discoloration apart from slight foxing. Spine is tight and flat. No spinal or split allowed. Staples may show some discoloration. No staple tears are allowed. Almost no stress lines. No must rest migration. In rare cases, a comic wasn't okay. That one we did already. Any staple can be replaced on the book up to fine, but only vintage staples can be used from very fine to near mint. Mint books must have original staples. Paper is creamed off-white, no hint of acidity, but centerfold is secure. Slight interior tears are allowed. Okay, so this I think falls into 9.2. It can also fall into 9.4, surprisingly. Okay, it's basically saying you can't have any color breaks. Okay, you can have spine. You can have spine ticks, which is what we have here. But when it break color is when it'll fall out at 9.2. And I think we've got spine again right there. There's one that breaks color, and it's saying a limited number of minor bindery defects are allowed. Yeah, I think I'm looking at 9.0 here. A very minor accumulation of stress lines in rare cases. I mean, a 9.0 and a 9.2, it's pretty much the same. It's just, I think you just have a little bit more of those minor defects. You can have like maybe one or two more minor defects. Trying to see color break. Possible minor color break allowed on an 8.0. The spine is almost flat with no roll. So I think this would fall again in the minor bindery defects. You got just very, very minute. I'm talking right there. It breaks color, but it's so, I don't know. I think on a black cover like this, it just pops. So, I mean, we're talking like maybe a 9.0 on this one. I'll go 9.0. I think it's really around a 9.2 to 9.0, if you ask me. But then again, under someone else's eye, it could be an 8.5, right? Like, just depends. But I'm going to give myself the benefit of the doubt because it looks so clean otherwise. Again, it does need a press, though. I will admit. I haven't really taken a look at this book. I think what happened was when I bought the book, because I was aware of condition when you buy books in the 90s, but I wasn't like looking over the book to see if it was like a near mint or anything like that. You just buy what you kind of are presented with at the comic shop, and you just assume it's going to be high grade or near mint, right? But probably came with those stress lines there. Was not really the best grader early on in my collection. I just kept things. I did keep things and handle things carefully, but probably didn't have a good understanding of comic book grading until recently. All right, so let's see here. We've got fandom here. All right, so we've got the Spider-Man Trial of Peter Parker. This came out in July of 1995. So sounds about right. And is a John Romita Jr. cover with Roy Burdine on pencils and Randy Emberlin on inks. Roy Burdine. And Randy Emberlin. And then it was a writer, Todd DeZago. Todd DeZago on the book. So I am calling this an I know. I think with a press, it can be a mint book. Yeah, I think with a press, we're talking near mint. Right now, it's just got this, I know you can see it right there. It's got this sort of, it's got that bend in the book. It's not a crease. It's just stress line. Again, doesn't really break color. It does break color right there. Also breaks color in the back a little bit. I mean, you have to really look hard, but it's like, let it get into focus here. Yeah, like where was it? I thought I saw a color break somewhere. Yeah, right there. Right there, you see a little bit of a color break there. So, yeah. Again, this is just it's a press project, future pressing project. This will be a really special one when I press it because, again, this is just one of the books I had when I was collecting. These books are always special. And I'm really trying to keep them all now. I'm not going to sell them. I sold a bunch off already, and I'm really regretting it because so many good 90s books that they weren't worth much, so I just kind of got rid of them. But in hindsight, I should have kept them. Should have enjoyed them, kept them in my collection. Because the nostalgia aspect is more. But I'm so glad I have this. Just love the cover art on this one. Just classic cover there. JR goodness. All right, yeah, and JR is one of our favorite artists. I'm probably going to do my top 20 artists list where I go through 11 through 20. And yeah, the JRJR is definitely in that list right there. All right, this next one is one we picked up for 50 cents at Mill Geek. And boy, this is another exciting one from the 90s that I think a lot of collectors should probably go out and get. It's still rather affordable. But this one has so many key amalgam characters. You get the amalgam of Superman, Captain America, amalgam of Superboy, Spider-Man, amalgam of Wolverine and Batman, amalgam of, there's a couple other ones. They're just not coming to me right now. So this one, again, 50 cents. I think it's a high grade copy. We're going to open it up and see. It should be very high grade. Wow, yeah, this is just, it's flawless. It's flawless. I'll try to get the best angle here. You can see just high gloss. Look at the spine. It's clean. This is a cardstock cover as well, which is what makes this really stand out. Look at that, how clean that is. And for 50 cents, this could be graded. We can grade this baby right here. Wow. Black sheep ad there in the back. Again, look at the spine. Jeez. Super clean. Yeah, I'm not seeing any issues with the back. Just gonna flip it over again. And we're not even gonna open this up because it's cardstock. I don't wanna I know there's a lot of great panels in here. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna show them off. This is truly a 9/8 candidate on a cardstock 90s cover. Not that I'd get this graded, but it's going to come back a 9/8. It's tempting. This is again just a big 90s book. This is one of the major events of the 90s. This DC versus Marvel, where you have just the universe colliding. Hulk versus Superman, Wonder Woman versus Storm, yeah. I guess the issues to own in this is number 1 and number 3. But it's only a 4-book. What is it, 3-book? Yeah, it's a 3-book run. So if you can find them for cheap, pick them up. These are probably sitting in a bunch of dollar bins, so go and do that. All right, so this is a 9/8. I don't generally confidently state things are 9/8, but that was just one of the most absolutely flawless books I've seen so far in this little exercise we've been doing. So I'm going to give it a 9/8, and then we're going to get to this book. All right, Marvel versus DC. Or is it DC versus Marvel? I think it's Marvel versus DC. Don't tell me I didn't put this book in. There it is. No, so it is DC versus Marvel. DC, yeah, but it is DC versus Marvel. And we're going to give it a 9/8. Oftentimes, confidently say things are 9/8, but this one, that was super clean. That was very, very clean. All right. What can I say? This is just George Perez. Freaking genius. This has to be one of like my favorite covers of all time. What's up, Trev? So yeah, I mean, this is a newsstand copy. I'm not going to even, there's issues with the book. I've got actually 2 copies of this, so we're going to grade both. We're going to start with the direct edition, and then we'll grade my newsstand afterwards. So let's see here. We've got, it's a pretty clean copy. Got sharp corners, no creasing of any kind. Gotta check and see if the free mini poster's in there. I'm already seeing it, so we got this free mini poster in there. Should I fold it out? Why not? I got 2 copies. Let's see. I think that's it. Oh, we got this. Oh man, we get these like really amazing George Perez, Deathstroke, and Wonder Woman prints inside. Pretty sick. I know you want to see that Wonder Woman. There you go. Boom. All right. Well, yeah, got some nice. There's a little bit of rippling at the edges there. Oh man, look at this George Perez. Goodness here. All right. Well, back to the front of the book. We've got a couple of some stress lines here. You can feel them. They don't break color. So could really stand to improve the press. Yeah, I'm not seeing any color breaks. Maybe a couple color breaks right there. Very minor. I'd still say overall this is like a 9. I'd say it's a 9.2. Direct edition. Just give you a look at the back cover as well. This is War of the Gods #1. It's a 4-issue limited series with some of the best cover artwork you're ever going to see in comic books, seriously. As you can see, very clean on the back as well. It's got a little bit of, like, I know you can't see it. It's got a little bit of like curled. It's kind of, again, with this needs a press, so there's a little bit of a curl there. Not really. I don't know if you can even see it, but I can see it. Let me get it on this. Let me get it on this little backing board here so we can maneuver it. You can kind of see it right there. See it? A little bit of an indent there. Yeah, I love your. I love the fact that you guys are covering the Dark Tower. I wish more people knew about it. It's got to be one of the more engaging conversations. It just it makes me want to pick up the book and read it again, because it just realized, like, even though I've just read through all the books maybe once or twice at most, it probably deserves to be read. Be read again, and just with a lot more detail, attention to the detail, knowing the overall story. So thank you guys. You guys are doing great. Keep it up. All right. So yeah, for the most part, I'm not gonna say it's a near mint book. I'm almost have to say it's like a 9.0. I mean, like it's got a couple of color breaks there. 1, 2, 3, 4. But again, the corners are sharp and everything. So yeah, I'm gonna go 9.0 on this one. War of the Gods #1, the direct edition. Go 9.0. That's just an incredible cover we got right there. I'm just gonna let you stare at it. All right, so 9.0 on that copy. I'm not expecting my newsstand to be better than that. I'm actually expecting it to be just probably a grade lower because there is an issue with the book. The question is, does it break color? And you guys will be able to see probably better than I do, whether it does or not. So it breaks color right on that R right there. You can see it. And if I pull it up, you can see there's a big old freaking crease. So this one needs a press for damn sure. We got the prints inside, so everything's intact. There's an issue right there as well at the bottom. It's a little bit of a damage there on the book. It looks like a crunch, just kind of runs, ripples. I think it might be water damage or something. Humidity, maybe. Just ripples there. So yeah, we've already determined it needs a press to get that kind of rippling out. But the corners, again, are sharp. This spine is much cleaner than that previous copy. We got a little bit of a spine tick right there. What is that, spine tick? Like a staple. I'm trying to see what that is. I think it's just a printing error. It's not a spine tick, it's just a little line there. Might be a printing defect. Yeah, a really clean spine. Got a little bit of a... What's that? Is that a spine tick? Yeah, I think that one's a little bit of a spine. A green. A little bit of a spine. Something. Is that stain or what? It's not really a spine, but it's like a... It has nothing to do with a spine break. Just a stain of some kind. And then, of course, you got this little corner crunch or whatever going on here. It's like someone just kind of... I think it's just humidity or something. It just feels like got wet there and then dried up. So that's kind of what we're doing. The back, I anticipate, will be very clean as well. So yeah, we got a little bit of a corner ding. So that's major enough to, like, again, all this stuff. I think we're looking at an 8.0 copy here, maybe in a 7. Again, I think this can be pressed out, but as is, it's looking like a pretty moderate defect. Wish it would just come into focus. And can you see that? Let's get in the focus here. There, you see that little bit of a crunch right there, right? That's that. That's how big it is. Just to give you some. It goes from here to here, a little bit of a crunch line. Again, can be pressed out. So I think if it gets pressed and pressed well, with that corner being, with that big crease just getting cleaned up, you can see the crease. I'll show you the crease again. Wish I had a better camera, guys. So you can see it breaks color right there. So there's nothing you can do about that, but you can definitely get this. That's a huge crease. You see that? You can definitely press that out. My worry is when we do press it out, and this is where like pressing becomes like a skill thing. When you press it out, that it presses cleanly and that line doesn't press in, the crease doesn't press in and leave sort of a line there. That's what we're worried about. So you want to get this damp to a point, but not get it damp to where it's pressing that crease into the book. And that's what you want to avoid when you eventually press this book. So yeah, it takes a good amount of skill to do that. But this is just one of my favorite. I mean, this if we could just get this really clean, I think it'd be a beautiful book. But as is, with all the little defects, and again, without a press, as is, I'm going to say this is a 7.5 copy, but has the potential to be a near mint copy. Well, not near mint, but I will say near mint minus with a press. With a good press, this has a near mint minus potential. But as is, we're going to say 7.5. So, War of the Gods newsstand, 7.5. Yeah, 7.5. I'll go 8. Yeah, 7.5. That crease is just god awful. I mean, with the crease there, even though it doesn't break color, yeah, it's a 7.5. I'm seeing a little bit of the color break here as well. I mean, and it's not color break, but no, that's not color break. That's the interior panel of the book right here. So I'm going to show you. It's that. You see those white lines there? That's what you're seeing there. So yeah, there's a crease here, but you're not seeing, it's not breaking color at all. So again, I'm going to keep it at a 7.5, but this has a real potential to be high grade with a good press. Not, I mean, as good as the previous copy, which is a 9, which I graded at a 9L, right? So this one is 7.5. And we put the ones that need to press in italics. Put the previous copy in italics as well. All right, and we're going to move on. Yeah, definitely needs a press. But I love this book so much. It's funny how like books you pick up for like, $1. I think I picked up this for maybe like $2 or something. It wasn't very much. It was like $2-3. It's funny how like books you pick up for for cheap can be some of your favorite books in the collection. And I know everybody in the chat right now knows what I'm talking about there. You know, like your favorite comic books don't have to be Grail books or anything of that nature. It's like literally have one of your favorite books be something you read, something that's like found in a 50-cent bin or 25-cent bin. But yeah, I don't have 2 copies of this book because I'm specking on it or anything like that. I just love this book. I love this cover. Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. All right, moving on. DC. Do printing errors lower the grade? So yes, printing errors. Well, so if they really detract from the book, yes. You can't have a near mint book with printing errors. But like, you know, printing errors are fine after a certain, I think like 9.4 and below. If you have a printing error, it doesn't really affect the book, no matter how bad it gets. But on a near mint book, you can't have that kind of. It has to be very minor, I think. If it's kind of detracts from the book or whatever, it gets a downgrade. It can't be a near mint book. For the War of the Gods, I paid a couple dollars for that. I paid 50 cents for the DC versus Marvel. All right, so we've got 2 copies of issue number 2. Let me get a better angle here for you guys. I got the newsstand copy, and then this beautiful yellow, the direct copy in the yellow. So that's kind of cool. Guess we'll start with the direct copy. Another fabulous George Perez cover here. Can't remember what I paid for this one. I think this came as a set. This might have come as a set. All right, we've got it's a crease, but it's like, I don't know if it was pressed, if this was pressed. No, this wasn't pressed. This looks to be just maybe a manufacturing defect of some kind. There's just like a stress line that goes from here to here. That's flat in the book. I guess this is the best way to show you. See it right there? Come into focus in just a minute. You see that line? It's not a crease, not a rip. It's just it's like the paper was just, it's weird. Anyway, that is not good. You don't want to see that. We've also got just a little bit of a raised edge there. A couple non-breaking spine ticks here as well. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. This is probably the best way to do it. Just hold the camera and go over. So right there, you see the spine stress. 1. There's another one right there. So 2. I'm trying to get in the light so you can see it. What's that? So I got a couple stress lines. Everything else looks pretty good. We've got a little bit of like dirty corner right there. A little bit of dust on that corner there. give you a broad view. Everything else looks good on the book. I'll put this back down and just kind of try to show you. Looks good. Very glossy. Colors are vibrant. Let's see. Turning around. Nice Musketeers ad there. Spine is cleaner on the back. No spine stress there that I can feel. Corners are sharp. So yeah, I mean, I almost want to give this a near mint grade. But we got this little, some kind of like, looks like it was like a cut of some kind maybe. But it's not a cut. It's just this, it's like a stress line that cleanly, it almost looks like it was like you, like a pleat of something, like if you were to iron it out and it had a little pleat in there that you ironed in. It's just like a line. It's not apparent. I can't see anybody purposefully doing that, so I'm just thinking the book came like that. It's on the interior part of the book as well. So, oh well. Just take a look a little bit. Oh, we got these nice little posters on the Lobo poster here. Look at that. Power Girl in a weird non-cleavage exposing uniform. Don't like that uniform, I guess. The Harpies. Some nice stuff right there. Oh. 1991 goodness here from DC. All right, so we took a look at the direct. I'm going to go with a 9.0 on this one. I think with the press it could be better. Go 9.0 on the newsstand. Or sorry, the direct. I don't know. What do you think? That line would make it an 8.5? Yeah, let's make it an 8.5. That line is just, it's very, it detracts from the book. I think anything that kind of detracts from the book, you can't really call it a manufacturing defect at this point. I mean, I can't think of anything that would just create this sort of stress line down the book. Maybe as it came off a roller or something, it just like caught on something and rolled that on there. Doesn't break color. It's just, but anyway, it's not going to be, it's like going to keep it from being a 9.4 for sure. So I think a 9.0 grade is fair. It wouldn't detract it beyond a 9.4, right? So if this thing, everything was like perfect and that was there, it would just be a 9.2. So assuming that's a 9.2 and all these minor stress things that would resolve with the press, yeah, I'll give it a 9.0. Doesn't need a press, so I put it in italics. All right, we're gonna go to the newsstand copy here. Here we go with get the bag and board out here. This one is looks very nice. It does need a press. I've got a little bit of the rounding of the corner here. A little rounded corner there. A little bit of a stress line there. Doesn't break color, fortunately. Spine is a couple stress lines I'm seeing, very minor. Overall, decent shape. No creasing. Again, needs a press. Up. Found our first big issue here. We got a staple tear. In fact, we got some bindery issues here. So as you can see, the staple tears right there. Got some stress lines as well. There's stress on the staple lines is there as well, but not as bad as that. It's like a pretty bad, I'm going to show it here. Pretty bad staple tear and stress. So let's talk about, we're going to go over the grading definitions for staple tears. So staple tears, minor staple tears are allowed from, I think a 9. So this is surprising. Bindery tears must be less than a 1/16 of an inch on Silver Age books or later. So on a modern book, not at all, but on a Silver Age book or Golden Age book, just the minutest of bindery tears are allowed. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about staple issues here, staple tears in particular. So you can start seeing a staple tear they're saying from like minor bindery defects. Trying to find very slight staple tears. You can allow they allow staple tears from a 9.0. So that's a minor staple tear right there, which would get us a 9.0. But I already had these other little, little spine ticks here and there. So I would put this, I would probably say it's going to be a very fine VF plus copy. I feel good about putting in a VF. I don't think it's going to be less than VF plus. So our newsstand is an 8.5, which is kind of where, you would expect a newsstand book to be. I think most newsstand books, they get handled to the point where if it's a near mint book, you really just picked it off the newsstand as soon as it was placed, and you put it in a bag and board and preserved it. That's the only way you're going to really get those high grade newsstands, is if you're actively, and I know like Roger was doing that. Roger would go, he knew when the books were coming out, he'd go to the newsstands, pick them up right off the news rack and just take care of them. So, it's a collector like that's going to have his personal copies are going to be high grade newsstands. But for the rest of us, you're going to pick it up, read it, handle it. So it's rarely going to be, 8.5 is, I think, generous. That's about as high as you'd expect a newsstand grade to be. So this is where we're at with this copy, an 8.5. Feel good about that grade. Again, this needs a press, like most books do this age. All right, so we've got War of the Gods. Our newsstand is a 9.0. Oh, sorry, 8.5. And our direct copy is a 9.0. And again, some beautiful. Oh, shoot. There we go. Got some beautiful George Perez artwork to show off. Love it. Love it. War of the Gods. 90s goodness. George Perez just killing it with a book like this, man. Killing it. Heart of DC right here during the 90s. All right, so moving on to issue number 3, also a newsstand. This is a dark cover. I think we gotta, just talking about, you probably expect this to be an 8.5. That's kind of where I'm expecting this to be. Ooh, but this is actually really nice for a dark cover. Wow. I'll show you what I'm working with. Very flat and doesn't even look like it needs a press at this point. And the spine. Ooh la la. It's clean as a whistle. On a dark spine like this, man. So I'm not seeing any creases or anything. Flip it. Look at the back. All the black. Oh. Well, we got a little bit of indent here. You can see it right there. Show it to you. Actually, maybe you're not going to be able to see it. Right there. See that indent right there? That can be pressed out. World Championship Wrestling on Nintendo. Just show you how far video games have come from the 90s. Look at that spine. Beautiful. Man, this is geez, I mean, with the press, I want to say, oh, wait, I spoke too soon. We got a little bit of, again, similar to that previous issue. You just got this little stress line, right? This one, I think you will be able to see that stress line right there? That's not like caused by a human being. I think it is a manufacturing defect of some kind. How would that come about, though? I'm seeing it on 2 of my books now. And they're both, well, no, one was on a direct copy, and this is on the newsstand. That's just weird. So I think that also is just going to take it down to a 9.2, right? Because you can't get it. It can't be near mint with a flaw like that. So that's as good as this is going to get, I'm afraid. 9.2 on a newsstand copy. I'll take it. Still a newsstand copy. 9.2, and this one really doesn't need a press. I mean, there's like one little area that could improve, but as is, it's pretty good. So I'm very happy with this. You got this beautiful Black Adam. I'm gonna let you look at it upside down and see him in pain here. It's not doing so good. Some kind of like multiversity going on here. Moving. So just, these George Perez covers are just so busy with so much, just characters and little plot points being revealed through the art. Just incredible. just that, this is what separates the cream from the crop. You get a comic book artist that understands, hey man, adding all this detail, the facial expressions and the motion, the bodies, the bolts. It's just freaking goodness right there. All right, we're down to the last issue 4. And got the showdown here between Wonder Woman and the antagonist here. I think she's Amazonian as well. Maybe not. But yeah, another fabulous cover. All right, I'm hoping this is. I'm just hoping it's. We've had pretty much high grade success with this entire run, so we haven't. Our lowest grade was that creased #1 newsstand, which again the press would be, I think, close to near mint. So this one looks beautiful. Doesn't even need a press. You got a couple of stress. They're just. It looks like it got a little bit of damage on the corner there. See a little cut lines there. That's a manufacturing defect. A couple of stress lines there, but one that breaks color right there. Very minor overall, very clean spine. And then we've got, let's take a look at the back. Yeah, we just got some dimples and stress lines here and there. Doesn't need a press. Those things would all resolve with. I'm just going to show you what we're looking at. Kind of see those dimples there, right there. Some stress lines. Probably get a better angle there. See those stress lines there. Just a little bit of dimpling and stress lines there. Nothing color breaking. Everything looks clean. Just a little bit more of the corner. See a little corner got crunched or something down there. See if it comes in the focus here. Man, I wish I had a better camera. Did the autofocus just break on my camera? Why is it always doing this? There we go. That's not really helping. There we go. There it is. See the little, looks like you got like a corner crunch there. So maybe that is not a manufacturing defect, but actually just a crunch. Those are crunch lines. So with that crunch, that's gonna hurt the grade on this. I'll put this at 8.5. I think it's a solid 8.5. On our War of the Gods, #4. #4. I love this copy. It's a direct edition. We've got 1991. What is this? December. And we're going to put it at as 8.5. And we want to press this because I think that's a pressable defect, especially that corner crunch area. Definitely press that out. All right, yeah, with a good press, this could be higher grade. I think we bump it up a couple notches. Uh-oh, wait, what do we got here? We got, is that it? Ooh, we got a little chip. It's very subtle, but you can see it right there, a little chip right there. Missing. We got some, does it extend to the interior of the book? Let's see. Yeah, you know, I'll go 8-0. That little chip isn't good. It's not very significant either, though. It's not so minor. Yeah, it's a little bit of a chunk, a little sliver missing from the book. All right, we've got Trolla. Let's see if we got the Black Adam. Some Flash action, some Black Adam action right there. It's nice. And we got Superman. Boom. George Perez Superman. Can't go wrong there. It's nice. Yeah. Go and get this book. So these are cheap must-haves for the book, for the collection. All right, so let's see here. That does it for this edition of Great Along. Got through my War of the Gods set here. Again, everything I think is in high grade there for the most part. You know, I think, again, this is probably our lowest grade because of that crease, but once pressed out, that 7.5 will bump up to I want to say 9.2, 9.0, 9.2. The press would also resolve this sort of looks like it's humidity damage or moisture damage there just in the corner. I mean, there is a little bit of a nick there, but with the press, it's barely noticeable. We've got this book, absolutely clean condition on this book. I hadn't really taken a look at the grade of this book. I knew it was high grade, but after just seeing it out of the bag, it was really flawless. Excited about that. This was a little bit disappointing. I thought this was going to be higher grade than it was. I mean, it's still high grade. What did we give it? We gave it a 9.0. Right, we gave it a 9.0, but I was expecting it to be at least near mint. So maybe with the press, I think even with the press, we're talking 9.2 at max. There's just, on a black cover, when you see a little, even though it's like really microscopic, you see a little color break there on the black cover, it just doesn't feel, kind of just sticks out. So this has the bindery tear, but again, 5.0 on this one, even with that little, I think it's a 1/2 inch bindery tear. So that's why I feel good about it. Everything else, points kind of like a mid-grade. That hologram is just, that's a near mint hologram right there. So, and then we got the poster inside, right? That beautiful Spidey and Spider-Man 2099 poster on the interior. Absolute gold. And then when you get that for like Fanboy, like you said, when you get a book like that for what did I pay it? Under $1.50. Just that's a win. Just the poster alone, right? Just that poster alone is like a win. pretty cool. So we're talking, I guess, comic book news and stuff that went on. First, I want to mention, I talked about this on my channel a couple weeks ago when the Otani story broke out. There was all the people in the media were just like kind of convicting him of gambling. They kind of assumed like, hey, it's probably more likely that Otani was betting on sports games and Ipe is just too convenient. How could Ipe have access to his phone? You got to understand, like, a player like Otani, he doesn't have a big inner circle. Okay. He's got his family. He's got his agents who are not a part of his inner circle. And he meets this guy who's with him 24/7 because he's translating everything. And they've been with each other, since 2017 or whatever? No, when was it? He came in 2018, right? 18 or 19, he came in the league. Actually, he's been in the league for several years now. But, he gets paired up with this translator who's right around his age, maybe a little older. And they build a friendship, very close relationship and a friendship. And when a person like that is in your inner circle, you're going to give him levels of trust that you don't give other people. And when you're a billionaire, it's like things like, hey, why don't you go pick me up something? Go pick me up a sandwich, or you'll maybe give him access to your funds, or maybe he knows your passwords or something. I don't know what, but basically the trust was there, in that relationship. He trusted Ipe, and Ipe had an incredible amount of access because he was in the inner circle to his personal life. He probably was the one who went out and got stuff. Like if Otani wanted to go do something, he couldn't just go out or he'd be mobbed. So he'd probably send Ipe to do something for him, and Ipe would go out and maybe pick up In and Out or something. I don't know. But he had this incredible amount of inner circle privilege that he took advantage of. Now it came out in the federal investigation that Ipe had stolen not just that sports betting money, but millions, and spent them on sports cards and other little investments. But he was siphoning off thousands and thousands and millions of dollars from the account, which Otani trusted him in managing to a certain degree. Now that's a mistake Otani made, but Otani being very trusting like that, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. He probably learned his lesson. But again, he kind of got exonerated this week. The federal investigation pointed toward, again, an indictment of Ipe on criminal charges. And those charges range from just stealing millions. It's not just the bank, the sports betting, the illegal sports betting that's going on, but the wiring of these funds, illicitly from Shohei's bank account. So, yeah, I think Shohei can now kind of go focus on baseball now. I think his name's been cleared. Anybody who's continuing to maybe intimate or suggest that Otani was involved in sports betting and all this can just shut the F up now, because that's not what the investigation is revealing. It's really revealing his translator just taking advantage of trust that was given to him, and just using money from that account like his own. and in the worst ways, betting, buying sports cars, who knows what else. You know, that's something eBay is going to face in court, those charges in court, and we'll see what kind of sentence he gets. But who knows? I think some more details will come out of that investigation as to what was going on with the money. But all in all, it basically points to a really somebody being taken advantage of because they trusted a person. That's what it's boils down to. Like, you're in a position of power and you trust a guy to kind of manage a certain portion of your life, and he takes advantage of it, that trust. And again, I don't think Otani's looking at his bank account every day, so he didn't realize, like, hey, I'm missing $1 million and change this month. It's like at that point you just got so much. He probably has multiple bank accounts. This was probably just his, like, his daily life fund. Probably had a couple $100 million in his daily life fund, or tens of millions in a daily life fund that where eBay was siphoning off money to do some pretty illegal stuff. All right. So that's that. The other thing is, like, again, as I was mentioning, the X-Men series, that seems to be just so popular right now. And I am enjoying its popularity. I'm not enjoying the series because I don't have Disney Plus. I wish I could. I really want to watch the series, so I'm hoping at some point the season comes out on DVD or something, and maybe I can go to the library, check it out. But I will be watching it at some point. But yeah, I mean, it's a stark departure from the original animated series in that it's higher quality in terms of writing, the animation quality, and just the pacing of the episodes. And it's geared toward, again, it was geared toward kids, but those kids have grown up, so it's geared toward, like, adults now, essentially. And the younger kids that are maybe the children of the 90s kids that grew up are enjoying it as well, because it's still a relatively, like, PG rated material, but it's again, action packed. So it's dramatic. I'm hearing so many good things about it, and it's staying true to a lot. I mean, they're taking very popular comic book run situations and adapting it to this series narrative. That just, I guess, is just like, it's basically satisfying even the most, like, finicky comic book fan. So and when you hear that from your community, I'm hearing it from, like, all the community members. So when you hear it as a chorus from the community members, you just know it's, the guys who are making this just know who they're dealing with. Maybe they're fans themselves, and all how good they are. But it's opening up Marvel to a whole new market for the animation content. Disney, I should say. Disney's now going to make a Spider-Man animated, like a revamped Spider-Man animated series. You can pretty much bet they're going to probably do one for all the Marvel titles: Fantastic Four, Captain America, the Avengers. I would bet, because they just announced the Spider-Man series is coming. I would bet the very next thing they're going to do is either Fantastic Four or Avengers in the animated arena. In fact, they might just open up the Marvel universe to animation, and and just open up all the comic book, just tie all that comic book history into it. And you could literally have like Civil War come to the small screen. You could have, I was talking about Age of Apocalypse. That seems like the most likely thing, to have some kind of multiversal interruption where you bring a Magneto from a different timeline and just revive him, pop him in to where he's like either a good guy, maybe like I don't know, a bad guy, completely evil, maybe. That makes sense. And then you bring a Gambit, like, Gambit from the Externals, Gambit and the Externals, bring that Gambit back in. And there's just so many things you could do. We're in a new age, new Marvel age, the animated Marvel age, which is really, it's kind of ironic because even as Marvel cinema is going down, we have Marvel animated coming up, and DC animated has always been strong, and they've been one of those, like, the DC animated things, those are comic book, well, I don't want to say 100% spot on, but they try to be as like accurate adaptations of the comic book as they can. I mean, they have to make some modifications because they're targeting kids, right? You can't have a lot of that sort of, I guess, what do you call it? PG-13 related, maybe it's even R-rated, some of that DC content, but you can't have a lot of that R-rated stuff in the animated or the adult themed stuff in the animated series. So the DC adaptations are a little, they make a lot of little minor adjustments, but again, they're very entertaining. And DC animation has always been, Batman Adventures, Superman Adventures, always been so representative of the characters and the DC brand, and just good old children's entertainment that adults can enjoy. But we're seeing DC animation, just it's always been there. It's been the sort of the best thing about DC from a certain perspective. The films have been crap, but I think we're going to see an upswing in the film quality undergone. To be honest, I'm really looking forward to that first Superman installment. It's going to set the tone for whatever he's going to bring to the DCU, but I think it's a new era for DC as well we're entering. So it's going to be a very exciting time for comic book fans, to be honest. Really looking forward to, again, I think Deadpool, everybody's looking forward to that. It's coming in a couple months. Just an exciting time. And, I'm not one to be like, if it comes out in a TV show or in a movie, like, you got to go out and get those books or anything. But what it's nice is, like, I've had all these X-Men books that I've been picking up, and it's nice to see them pop up on lists now, and like people going out and getting them, and just having the buzz around X-Men. I'm not picking up X-Men books because of that, but I mean, I'm also kind of eyeing them and being like, is that still a price? The price gone up, or is that a good price to pick it up at? Like, whereas I would have been patient on an X-Men book for like $1 or $2, maybe even $3. I might pick it up for $4 or $5 now. So I guess it's had a little bit of an effect on my, in terms of, do I want to pick it up now or do I want to wait, kind of thing. So it's an exciting time to be. I think the market is just, it's like, there's some exciting things going on in the market. Let's just put it that way. And the series and all this, like, all the, I guess, the nostalgia it's generating around it, it's good for the hobby, especially the 90s collectors like me. Like, I honestly think we're going to see these 90s titles like come to the forefront on the television stuff. So Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider, he was kind of had a little bit of a tease in the multi, Spider-Verse movie, the Miles Morales movie. But I think in the animated series, you're really going to see that come to the forefront. You're going to see Ben Reilly be. I think they're going to bring that whole, at least for a couple episodes, you're going to see the Spider clone, the Scarlet Spider. Maybe you'll even see the trial of Peter Parker, but you're going to see that story line come to fruition in the 90s, the revamp of the 90s. Because that's the kind of tone that they've set for the X-Men series. So just makes sense that you'd see that with the Spider-Man series. So there's a book to pick up if you're into that kind of thing. Go pick up those like 90s books. I think it'd be fun to just pick up, and they're not expensive, so they're going to be dollar books. So pick them up for $1 and enjoy. What's some of the other news? Nothing's coming to mind. Can you guys think of anything that we should be talking about? Oh, TJ Miller's in the Deadpool movie. There was always a question whether TJ Miller was going to be. All right. No worries. TJ Miller. So let's talk about TJ Miller. He was a big part of both the previous 2 Deadpool movies. He's sort of like that. He's like the bartender for Ryan Reynolds. He's that comic element in the movie. Well, he apparently had like a mental breakdown on a train where he physically assaulted somebody. He was high on pot. He got, I think, I don't know, he got charged with like bringing a gun on the train. I forget the details of the story, but there were some shocking elements about it. Female Silver Surfer. So what I'm hearing about the female Silver Surfer is that a lot of people don't realize, like, she's one of the female heralds. So she's actually like, so there's Silver Surfer and then there's her character, and they're both like the Silver Surfer's heralds, but she just happens to be female, and his character is the male version. So the fact that she is in the movie doesn't necessarily mean that the male Silver Surfers is out of the equation, right? So I think they're both going to be in. Like, the fact that this is just drawing a lot of attention, I think, hides the fact, or it detracts from the fact that you're going to get Silver Surfer, right? It's kind of like it's what's that word where it's like fate of hand, right? It's like a magic trick where you're just like, hey, look over here, this is the female Silver Surfer, and right here is like you're holding the real Silver Surfer. I shouldn't say real, but you're holding everybody's, what their concept of the Silver Surfer is. So my thoughts on that are actually, I don't think it's the female Silver Surfer. There's actually just that female character that they're bringing to the screen. And then there's the real Silver Surfer that we're going to see. So, yeah, I think we're going to see both, to be honest. So it's a fate of hand trick. They're trying to get people to hate on the female Silver Surfer idea when it's not really the female Silver Surfer. Does that make sense? But yeah, I think again, it's a real she's a real character in the Marvel universe. So um, I think the headline is a little bit misleading on that one. But yeah, I think right now it looks like Fantastic Four is one of those like. I mean, let's talk about like when we look at the comic book industry right now. We've got trending books, and what I wasn't aware of was because I was kind of like, why is everybody picking up Dave Stevens books all of a sudden? It was like Dave Stevens was like popping up on all the lists, and I was like, I mean, Dave Stevens is a great artist. Don't get me wrong, and he passed before his time, and he passed away tragically. And I get why you'd want to own his books because there's not a lot of his books. His books were always published under independent titles, so there's not a lot of work there apparently. But then if I learned that there was this documentary that was, I think, put out, and I learned this through like a random comic book channel. And so apparently, like, the documentary on his life came out, and it just generated all this like interest, or I should say re-interest in his books. And so now everybody's just like, they're clamoring for Dave Stevens books. And I've got to say, like, his books are hard to find, and a lot of his books are pricey, but they're now like they've just skyrocketed in value, right? Because previously you could pick up Dave Stevens books for like, you can pick up. I mean, some of them are just like $3-5 books. A lot of them were like maybe $20. I guess some of the more rarer ones were like $100 or so. But now it's like they're like thousands of dollars, and they're just like, it's getting crazy. And I've even seen a lot of our community members like picking them up, and like their focus shifting from whatever they're collecting to now like Dave Stevens and stuff. So that's great. I think that's good for the hobby to recognize a great artist like Dave Stevens, and kind of highlight him in our community and as something you want to recognize his work, right? You want to recognize and appreciate what he did for the medium. So yeah, it's just great to see. But it was kind of like it was baffling me in the beginning, like, what's causing this? And then I learned, so there was like a documentary. So it's always some kind of like, something that comes out that puts that character, the artist, or something into the forefront of our consciousness, and people tend to focus on that and want to collect that. So that's cool. Yes, I did see the Godzilla times Kong, and it does look freaking amazing. So yeah, I mean that's another one of the things I think, like, people are just, you've got some of these gems that are like surprise hits, and they're doing like follow-ups, or like sequels to those movies, and it just builds all that excitement again. So that's another one I think is just going to be like, it's going to be a blockbuster. It's going to be a blockbuster, and I'm just glad they're making it sort of a franchise now. Godzilla versus King Kong. It seems like I know the last one was kind of garbage, right? The last King Kong versus Godzilla movie. So I'm just really expecting this next one to be like so intense and good. So should be a lot of really cool battle sequences and special effects. So yeah, I think there's a lot of movies that I've kind of circled or penciled as like would be interesting. Beetlejuice is one. I think everybody's excited about Beetlejuice. Um, I think the other one is uh, Mad Max. Uh, what is it? What's her name? Furiosa. The origin of her. Anya Taylor. What's her name? Anya Taylor Green. I'm such a big fan of hers, but I don't even know her name. I gotta look up her name. Anya Taylor Joy. That's her name is. Anya Taylor Joy is. I just love her. I think she's a great actress, and the fact that she's playing, you know, Charlize Theron's, like, like it's basically the right the prequel or the backstory to her Mad Max film. So it looks freaking intense, man. Some of the, I mean, it's basically the same production team I think that brought you Fury Road, Mad Max Fury Road, which was a great, like, so innovative, cinematically innovative, like with the camera techniques and the car, like jump, the car racing and jumping scenes and all that. But it's more of that. It's like that on like freaking steroids. It looks like with this prequel. So that's another one I'm looking forward to. The Dark Tower. They're putting that in like a Netflix serial format, which is what it should have been all along, right? But how many seasons of that are we going to get? Depending on the success of that first season, which it has to be like they have to knock it out of the park in that first season. But I can tell you one thing right now: if that comes to Netflix or wherever it comes to, I am going to subscribe to wherever it is because I want to watch that. That's one thing I definitely want to watch. It's because if they can, and I've been saying this all along, that's going to be one of the hardest, like the Gunslinger series. I should say the Dark Tower series. The Dark Tower, to bring all 7 books to the small screen and do it right is, it can be done, but it's going to take, multiple seasons, and it's got to be just paced correctly. It's got to have the right pacing. It's got to leave, probably got to leave a lot of detail in the book, which you can just, I think, do through the acting and do through the set designs and but anyway, it'll be interesting. You got to get the right director. You got to have screenwriters who not only have read the book but are like very versed in that universe, like understand that universe inside and out. I think Mike has to get in on that panel. He would be, I think, a good advisor to that show, but you got to get somebody who's I think they're going to bring King on as an advisor. He should have been an advisor of the movie, and they should have said no to the movie, to be honest, but it's not always his call. But that's another one I'm really looking forward to. You can bet your bottom dollar you're going to see Psylocke in the X-Men series. And that was kind of my main, coming into the X-Men 97 series, that was my main complaint. I'm like, it's great, but if you're going to bring 90s X-Men to the small screen, you got to have Psylocke, right? And they morphed into her, and they teased her, I think in episode 1 or 2, whatever it was. But now with the death of all these characters, I'll bet you by the end of this first season, she's going to get introduced. She's going to get introduced in a big way too. So, I mean, not that you can go out and spec on her books. I mean, by all means, you probably want to pick up the first. Probably want to pick up that issue where Betsy Braddock joins the X-Men, which is, I think, it's the Wolverine Sabretooth cover to, I don't know what the number is, but I think it's the last Mutant Massacre issue. You want to go pick that one up if you're a specking kind of person. But yeah, Psylocke's coming, and that's what I'm really, really excited about. She should have been there from the get-go, but she's there now. Yeah, and well deserved to be there. So she's coming. I mean, that's a prediction as confident as I can give at this point. So, and I'm really focused on picking out more of her books. In fact, I'm just gonna show off a book. Show off 2 books. Show off my Psy cover. Psy. That's a beautiful cover right there. And then we're going to show off our Psylocke cover. Sexy PS sexy Psylocke. I don't know. Is that's a little too. That cover is just it borders on, like, I don't know. It borders on, like, I don't even know how to put it. It's just such a amazing cover. I mean, there's just no other way to, like, you describe this cover other than PSEXY. Sexy with a PS. It's the only way to. It's so sexy. So sexy. But yeah, I'm just excited about Psylocke coming to the X-Men 97 and just being kind of imprinted as an X-Man, right? Like, you say name the core X-Men people, right? You're probably gonna like Cyclops, Wolverine, right? Jean Grey, Beast. Those are well deserved members of the core members. Iceman, right? Angel. And then if you were to say, like, hey, name the core 90s X-Men, you're just looking at that Jim Lee cover, right? Iceman, Beast, Archangel, Wolverine, Cyclops, Colossus, Storm, Gambit, Psylocke. You gotta, that's your 90s core right there. So anyway, we're expecting it to happen, so I'm just calling it right here, right now. What else we got going on? Let's take a look. I'm just going to write comic book news and just talk about whatever pops up first. Probably going to be like Geiger or something. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's another one. Apparently they're bringing okay, so I think this is another thing that's generating a lot of buzz and hype. And I don't mean to make it sound like I wasn't a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan. I was. I read the comic. I read the Eastman Laird comic, like everybody. I just didn't have. I didn't think it was that cool, to be honest. yeah, for whatever reason, I just read the comic book. I mean, I thought it was cool. You had these like four kind of like, you know, I mean, initially in the comic, they're very like hardcore. They're not like teenage. They kind of develop that their personalities, and then there's that cartoon, right, that takes it kind of like too far, makes them too like Disney like. Then there's that ridiculous movie that everybody seemed to like except me. I hated that movie. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you're talking about the comic books are okay. I like enjoyed them to a certain extent. Um, there were definitely some the later issues where it got really like kind of intense and cool. Um, but yeah, that art, the comic book stories were always the the, the thing you wanted to read and collect. But yeah, apparently there's the Ronin now is coming, so they're gonna make a R-rated version, a violent version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I think they're gonna adapt, Ronin, that that storyline into the comic books, or sorry, into the movie, um, which I think has a lot of potential right there. You know, like when you can bring that raw edge, like the sort of the, I guess what you would say, the raw edge of the comic books, and bring that to the big screen, not targeted at kids, not have them eating pizza and like skateboarding and all that stuff, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. When you can bring it, give it a little bit more of an edge, um, that's going to help elevate, I think, to a new generation. And hopefully get people like me like wanting to watch it. But we'll see. We'll see. Um, what other stuff? It's getting late. Maybe I should just call it a night. Um, I mean, it's nice to see. Again, I think what excites me most about the X-Men '97 is that they're getting the comic book stuff right. This should be exciting everybody actually. So when they get the comic book stuff right, and the executives see it, oh, okay. So wait, you just take a bunch of '90s comic book titles and adapt them, and people love it. Like when they get that message, it's good for the entire industry. It's good for fans, right? Because now we have this like now like all the executives are like, okay, well, let's look at the comic books now and like see which one we want to bring to this big screen. Oh, wait, this looks good. This looks good. Let's bring this to the, like when they start having conversations like that, good things are going to follow. It's like they kind of got away from that. Um, it seemed like it's kind of like, we don't need to do the comic books. We'll just like get a bunch of good writers in the room, and we'll make something better. We'll put something original on the screen, something innovative, something that people have never seen before, and they love these characters, so they'll be on board. Yeah, that can work. Nothing that says that can't work. But when you're dealing with like actual like source material and doing that, just it's going to make fans happy. It's a way to make money, to make your to bring value to the people that you are targeting, right? So maybe they're not targeting me, maybe they're targeting somebody else. But hopefully at the end of the day they realize targeting people like me is what makes these like films worth watching. So anyway, that's what's exciting about that. I wish I could talk about the series more. I just haven't watched it. Uh, you know, don't spoil it for me. I think I've spoiled it for myself. I've kind of gone online and see what all the hubbub is, and I'm seeing the big reveals. Um, yeah. All right. Well, that was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out. And you know, yeah. Uh, for me, I love doing this little conversation with you guys. Where I get to share my books, kind of grade my books, and just spend time just escaping from like real world stuff. I think that's kind of what gets you into comic books in the first place, right? I was talking about how comic books were for me were like just a break from academics. Well, not much has changed. Still, it's a real little escape for me. Um, so, the, although it has much more like kind of nostalgic value now, um, the escape is the escape. Was like you're reading these and enjoying them in the moment, but the escape now is like you're really escaping to like a past period where you just yeah you're just nostalgic about. So that's the main difference. But again, like books like this, man, books like this make collecting all worthwhile at the end of the day. All right. Go on and get this book. It's a book worth having, I think. Just a cover by. Nothing else. Well, it's got great Christmas shallow art. Um, just fast becoming, I think, fast climbing the ranks of my favorite artists. Um, yeah, I've always appreciated his artwork. He just knocks it out of the park with this cover right there, man. Like, I can do that on a week to week basis. You got my money. You got my money, sir. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your weekends, or weekend, and thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you in the next one. All right. Doing more great alongs at a later date. All right. Peace out. See ya.